Let's talk about the new player experience a little bit. This is where it's kind of hard, right? Because I've played with a group of new players. I think all of them quit. I don't know if they just couldn't line up their schedules to keep playing with each other or what. I know they all really enjoyed playing the game when they were playing the game and they were having fun. But they were just having fun, like doing Guardian raids and Chaos raids together. And like getting together and going to do the Rift. Going to do the field boss together. They were literally just doing all the content we're doing on farm and they were enjoying it just because they were doing it together as a new player. Right? But literally, like I asked them how it felt as a new player. I could actually bring this up. Okay, so I asked, can you guys give me a quick summary? I asked this, it's only been about 2 weeks ago. It was April 16th. Can you guys give me a quick summary on how you feel about Lost Ark as a new player at the moment? And they've been playing for about a month. One guy said, it's fun, but after I do about all my stuff, I'm bored because I don't know what to do next. And I think he's referring to like, when you start playing the game, you make your character, right? You do your Guardians, do your Chaos. I believe he was like 1460 at the time. So then he had his 2 raids. And then what is he supposed to do after that? He's literally out of content. You know, my response to that would be, you know, work on horizontal, work on your skill points. And I think that's my suggestion to like any new player. It's like, when you start playing the game, make a couple characters of classes that interest you. That you could see yourself wanting to play. And I mean, like, look at videos, ask a streamer, watch a streamer play that class or whatever, and make a couple classes. Use your power passes as soon as you can. We're going to get the knowledge transfer change kind of soon, but gold is an issue, right? So, because you got to spend gold to knowledge transfer. And this is where I think the big issue lies in, because it's hard to get a roster started early on in the game. And due to it being hard, you can either level characters up organically through tier 1 and tier 2, which is miserable. Or you can wait for power passes, or you can wait to make gold to do knowledge transfer, but you really don't have that many gold sources to be able to fund those knowledge transfers, right? And I think that's one of the big problems that new players have. It's just they don't have enough stuff to do. And to supplement that, they have to create more characters. But they can't get those characters to the same point where, like, kind of like where the other character is. And I just mean in tier 3 in general. Like, to where they can do tier 3 chaos dungeons to get extra mats or whatever to feed to their character. And I'm not saying that, like, they have to make a bunch of characters to feed their main and feed into their main. I'm simply saying that, like, to continue playing the game to where it's like it actually benefits them what they're doing, at least in the same tier, they have to go through all these extra steps or pay a bunch of gold to bypass those steps. And I think that's like one of the biggest issues. Like, because new players want to be able to play the game more, and there's not much for them to do when you start playing the game. And like I said, this came straight out of a new player's mouth, right? There's not enough stuff for him to do. Once you do everything, you're done. You do your 2 Chaos, your 2 Guardian, and then what are you supposed to do? You go play in tier 1 or something to get your next character up? It's like, you don't want to play a tier 1 character, man. Like, I played tier 1 characters, like, when the game came out. Like, that should be a non-issue. I think that's terrible. It's terrible. Personally, I think, like, knowledge transfers, give new players, like, 3 or 4 of them things for fucking free. If you have a Makoko badge, you have 3 free knowledge transfers, I think. And then let them try out a bunch of different classes when they first start the game out, and they could play for more than 30 minutes, you know? Because when you're playing a new game, you want to be able to play it. Right? Someone else said it's fun with friends, terrible alone. Takes a long time to gear, but when you do get a raid, those are fun. Too many materials needed to hone. Cool glows, community strict on what's needed to raid. And if you don't have it, you won't clear. Can't no-life it unless you swipe. Relies on resets, dailies and weeklies, too much. Right? And that kind of reinforces what I was just saying. You have to power pass a bunch of characters to keep playing the game, or you're forced to wait on daily resets and weekly resets. And this is a problem. This is like one of the biggest problems for new players, right? They have to wait to play the game, and that's terrible. Or they have to play in tier 1. And even to play in tier 1, because, like, yeah, you could do a knowledge transfer and get to Vern, right? But that still takes 8 hours. So they can't even play a lot like their first day. Like assuming they play, okay, you get the story express, whatever, you play through, get your first character up, and then you get your South Vern, or you do that, and then you get your Vern Power Pass, and then a Punica Power Pass, I think, right? So you have 3 characters you can play, but one of them's kind of stuck in tier 1, and then you just kind of like, that's all you can do, right? But you can't keep playing your main character, right? Because you run out of stuff to do. Another one said they don't like raid lockouts, which I can kind of agree. If you're playing with one character and you can only do the raid one time, and you see all these people in the game, or you talk to these other people and they're running the raids multiple times, and you only get to do it once, and you don't even really get to learn it, because for a new player, the game is at a much more accelerated pace than it was for us that leveled up through the game at the start, right? Because we got the raid staggered. New players are getting raid after, okay, then you hit Vaulton, okay, you hone. Next week you're going to do Vicus. Okay, you hone. Next week you're going to do Clown. Okay, you hone. Next week you're going to do... That's so much shit, dude. And yeah, granted, they can get carried through that, but how are they supposed to learn how to do the raids? So, raid content does need to get nerfed early on, as, you know, like once a raid falls out of being optimal in the top 3 gold earning sources, it needs to get nerfed. Just for new players. And the only reason I think it needs to get nerfed is because they're expected to catch up to where we are, right? It's the same instance with WoW. Like, Molten Core's still in the game. Blackwing Lair's still in the game. Zul'Gurub's still in the game. You know, all the old content is still in the game. But you don't have to do that content to get to relevant content. I think they should just dumb it down so they can get the gear and then get up to the relevant content in the game. It's like, oh, boo-hoo, you missed the release of the content when it was challenging and relevant, but they shouldn't... You shouldn't have to, like, go through that to catch up to other players. I think you have the lowest gold earning source out of the top 3 for us, so that would be Clown for us right now, right? Actually, it would kind of still be Vicus, because you can only do Brel normal or Brel hard, but it's like Vicus Clown level, right? So I'd expect when Elgacia comes out for Vicus to be nerfed. And right now, Vaulton should already be nerfed, right? Or even Vicus should already be nerfed. And then maybe Clown is like the hardest content, right? Because higher players are still doing it. But they need to nerf the early raid content. Just dumb it down so that they can get in, get the gear, and, you know, easily build up a roster and, you know, hone and catch up. And, you know, nerf honing or whatever, so they can catch up to where we are. Like, as we all grow up with our characters, it needs to be easier for new people to catch up to us. Like, the higher we get, the easier it needs to be to get to our low point. Like, right now, I think our low point is Clown. It should be really easy for a new player to get the Clown. That's how I think it should work. And then when Elgacia comes out, okay, it's really easy to get the Brel. That's how I think the game should work, right? Like, doesn't that make sense? Turn the Legion raids that are early on, like, make them literally able to be cleared with matchmaking. It's not that hard. It's really not. And I think that would drastically improve the new player experience. But this is one take that blew my mind when he said this. Because the game forces itself not to be someone's main game, or it's meant to be that way so you spend money. And this is from a perspective of a new player. Like us looking at someone saying that, we're like, what the hell, right? What do you mean the game forces itself to be someone's main game? I literally don't have time to do anything else. But see, from the perspective of a new player, they have their one character. They have 30 minutes of content to do. They don't have a full fleshed out roster like us to where we can play literally 16 hours a day. They can't do that unless they swipe. And that's what he's talking about. And I said, yeah, earlier on you run out of stuff to do, but later at my level I can literally do stuff for 16 hours straight. And then he said he likes it, but way more to do in, let's say, WoW, Final Fantasy, and BDO. Like, I'm guessing he's talking in terms of like playing one character. He's got a lot more stuff you can do. Another guy says dailies for all your characters takes forever. Yeah, that's a gripe that a lot of us have. And then another one says, I think the way around running out of things to do is making and leveling more characters. That's what I'm set on doing now, is what she said. And basically what she was doing is she was actually like playing like 1 through 50 again. You know, like leveling new characters. And like That's dreadful. But then she also said, but I agree on other things. It's fun with friends, not much fun alone. So yeah. Playing, and that goes way back to what I said earlier, if I said that earlier. Playing this game with people you know over pugs, it makes it so much funner. Honestly, it really does. And he said, sure, but once you've done Argos 100 times, whether it's on another character or not, it's not fun. And yeah, everybody hates Argos. But that's pretty much the gist of like what they told me when I asked them what they think about the game. And the consensus was like, there's just not enough to do for new players. Because they can't flush out a roster, and there's just not enough for them to do on one character. Right? And like, that never goes away. There's not enough stuff for me to do on my Zerker. I could literally do all the content for the week on my Zerker in one day. Right? I could do my Challenge Guardians, I could do my Challenge Abyss, I could do all of my raid lockouts. Hell, I can even do like an Argos bus or an Argos carry, a Reaha card run. I could do all the card runs. Literally all the content for an entire week from my one character in one day. And that's just how the game's designed. It's not, I don't think it's meant to be able to where you could spend all your time on one character. But that could be a good thing and that could be a bad thing depending on how you look at it, right? With this, you have other time, you've got time to do other things, or you just play another character. This might change when they go into Season 3 of Lost Ark. Or it might not. But I think the consensus is, if you want to keep playing the game, you got to play more than one character. Some people like that, some people don't like that. But I don't know. I guess it is what it is. I think that's just how the game's designed. If you want to play the game more, you just got to play more than one character. If not, you just do everything you can on the one character, and then you go play a different game. So I guess that's one benefit of you not playing a huge, massive roster. You can play other stuff too, right? So I guess that's a positive in itself. The way I would fix things, personally, I think a lot of the stuff can be fixed. Like, I recorded this video earlier and I actually edited it, and I think I'm just going to include it in this. But this is how I would fix the game. They're already doing knowledge transfers to be instant for new players. And I think, like, basically what fixes the game for new players is I think they need to be able to play the game more when they start playing. They run out of stuff to do too fast, and it's because they can't keep making characters and playing them at the higher level. Maybe just making a character just starts in tier 3 or whatever, that's fine. I'm completely okay with that. I'm okay with them getting 3 Hyper Expresses right when they start a game. But one of the biggest issues with this game, I think, is that like anything you do to benefit actual players, it's going to be benefiting bots as well and RMT. And this was a big point I kind of like nailed home in the last video that I recorded that I haven't uploaded. But basically anything you do to make the game experience better, it's going to benefit bots, right? And there's just nothing you could do to stop that, or it's going to benefit busing. If you nerf raids, it's going to make busing easier, but it will de-incentivize busing from happening because people won't need the bus because they can clear the content, right? That's kind of like the give and take. Personally, I think busing will still happen, but I don't know. I'm of the mindset that I think busing shouldn't be a bannable offense, but I think advertising busing in-game should be punished. Not in the sense that, like, I think people that advertise busing in-game should get banned, but I just think it should be severely frowned upon and just not allowed to be advertised in-game. If you want to go to an outside source to arrange getting bussed through content, I think that's fine. But I don't think it's healthy for the game, for the party finder, to have people advertising buses in it. It's currently 4 a.m. Probably won't see many buses in here right now. AFK carry? No, there's none in here right now. None in here. Yeah, it's 4 a.m. Want to sell bus. Oh, I actually know Leo. But yeah, like I'm saying, like it shouldn't be able to be advertised in here because this is what the new player sees. It's like, oh, I can get carried. And like, see, they're getting bussed in here. if this wasn't getting advertised in here, you think these guys would go out of their way to look for a bus? Free bus practice. But yeah, I just don't think it should be able to be advertised in game. And I don't think you should get banned for advertising it in the game. I just think you should get chat restricted so that you can't post in the party finder for like a week or something. And that'll get people to stop doing it. If you see it, you just report whoever, you just right click report advertising busing, and then like it gets looked into and they get chat locked for, you know, first offense like 24 hours, then 72 hours in a week, in 2 weeks, you know? So let it ramp up. People will stop advertising it. And then if people really want to get bust, they can go to an outside source. And that, I think just the effort in that alone will make less people bust. Because it's just more of a hassle to go through. It's already enough. Like I've bust Vicus, I've bust Argos. Like it's already a hassle enough getting them to buy your accessory and then making sure people aren't AFK between gates and stuff and like skipping cutscenes and dying where they are. It's already a hassle to bust. If you make it more of a hassle, less people are going to do it. Right? And I think that'll just make less people do it. But in addition to that, I think one big issue is the fact that all the gold we earn in our accounts, raw gold that just comes into the economy, is mainly from Legion raids. And I think that's poor design in itself as well. I don't think that should be the case. Because that incentivizes raiding on a bunch of different characters. And it diminishes the idea of pinnacle content, right? Personally, I think the majority of your raid should just, your gold should just come from the highest level content you can do. So like for example, like Braille mode hard should basically give me the gold we earn now. And that's it. I'm not even talking about doing every single raid. Just the pinnacle raid. Right? Especially when it has a difficulty level like Braille does. Because Braille can take several hours during a week if you have bad pulls, if you're pugging, and etc. But I think people want to play their main character and stuff more, right? And I think that's a better way of dealing with it. Because you get to spend, like, yeah, maybe you're wiping, maybe you're struggling and you're doing prog. But like, let me ask you a legit question. I want you to really think about it. Like, don't answer it. Answer it to yourself. Like, don't answer in my comments or anything. But would you rather prog on your main character that's really juiced out and get the same amount of gold for getting that clear and getting the satisfaction in doing that? Or would you rather do all of your Vultans, all of your Vicus, all of your Clown, all of your raids for the same amount of gold? Would you rather prog one raid and get it done and get the majority of your gold that way? Or would you rather do 18 raids? I know for me, I would rather get most of my gold from the top raid I can do. Right? And like I said earlier, like this is going to benefit botting. It would benefit RMT. But I don't think that should literally be all the gold you earn. I also think they should add gold weeklies. You already get gold for completing the Una tasks, right? I think to incentivize people to want to do Guardians more and do Chaos more, just add gold to those weeklies. And you literally don't even have to change the amount of gold that comes into the economy. Just change the source of where it comes from. Put a nice 50% chunk. Like basically, I think my roster, like if I were to do all my raids, I earn somewhere between 80 and 90k gold. Give me 45k gold for doing hard mode Braille. And then give me another 45k gold for doing weeklies throughout my roster. And I'm way happier. Because then you could still build up mats on your alt characters. You're not stressed about raiding on them anymore. You raid on them if you need to craft the gear, if you need the pieces to swap sets. You need to raid on them if you want quality taps and etc. Because you need the chaos stones and stuff. So you're raiding on them more because you want to do it, rather than you have to do it for the gold. Right? I think that's just better. But granted, like I said, this can be abused by botters just doing weeklies to earn gold. And that's just something that it's like, what do you want? You want the game to be better for us or worse for us? Just roll out more bot bans, ban RMT, be more strict on RMT, right? Like, it's not that hard. It's like Asma said, like, just ban the bots. You know where the bots are, just ban them. You could literally put an item in the game, like a toy, like literally just a toy, right? That we could throw on the bots. like maybe it turns them into a fucking snowman or something, and they have to do a captcha. Like, sure, you could troll people with that, but just make it so you can't do it in Guardians or in, you know, make it so you only do it in town or whatever, or while they're fishing or something, you know? And then, let's say they complete the captcha, and then, like, okay, you can't throw one at them to prevent trolling or whatever. There's definitely ways that you could deal with the bots, right? You could hire a couple people, just like Aspen said, to deal with bots on 8-hour shifts. And they could just, like, go around being a GM and just fucking, oh, look at all these guys. They throw the fucking AoE sleep grenade on them, and it kicks them all out of the game and bans them. You know what I mean? Like, oh, a player was caught in the crossfire, and let me get him out of there. It's doable. You just got to be willing to do it. And then you can make the game better for everybody else. You can remove this auction limit, listing limit. You can remove this 3-day hold on gold. You can make the game better for actual players. But I think redistributing the way the gold comes into the economy would really help the game. People wouldn't feel like... Because I think doing all these Legion raids is what stresses people out, not doing dailies. You don't have to think in a Chaos dungeon, dude. It's like, people are like, why do you got to do Chaos dungeon twice? It's like, dude, you could literally, like... You can do Chaos dungeons while watching Netflix. Watching a stream. Hell, you could proc your betrayal set and do homework while you're doing Chaos. Like, it's literally like you don't have to pay attention while doing that. You don't even really have to touch your keyboard. Like, you could literally just do it with your mouse if you have betrayal set. Just proc betrayal and run around in circles with your mouse. You do not have to pay attention. At all. Guardian's a little different. You kind of have to pay attention. So I could see nerfing the Guardians being once a day. That's fine. I'm fine with Guardians being once a day for double. And then 4 times a week to earn gold from an Una. How would you feel about that? I'm fine with that. Or if they combined Guardians and Chaos into one thing. But granted, like I said, when I was just talking about the new player, they run out of stuff to do. Preferably, I would rather keep the Guardians at 2, and so new players, like when they make their one character, they have one extra thing they can do on it. However, if they fix the issue of new players not being able to get a couple characters to play right away, then I think going down to 1 Guardian is fine. Right? It's just finding a happy median. And then just, I don't know, if you don't want to do it every day, you know, just keep it rest, and you get like an extra third of the rewards for doing it the next day. So like, you don't get double the rewards from rest, but you know, you get half of what you would get for doing, you know, doing it the next day on one day. So you get, you know, 1.5 rewards, right? And you could leave the rest system in the game with just doing it one time. I think that's fine. But I think doing Chaos twice a day is fine. It's like, I actually have like different builds for Chaos, and it's nice to be able to play around with different abilities and stuff in Chaos. Different from your main raiding build. It kind of feels like you're playing a different character every now and then. So, like, I really don't mind that. They already fixed Boss Rush and Cube. I think another issue is fucking the equalized content is boring as shit. Challenge Guardians. It's like, I highly recommend everyone just have an Artillerist on their account, and you just do Challenge Guardians on Artillerist because it makes it so much easier. That's what I do. Or on a Glavier. Or sometimes a Blade, I guess. But like, some classes just do better in equalized content, and that's why I think Hell Mode sucks. And that's why I think the equalized... Because there's just some classes that are just flat out better than others. And that's no fun to me. Maybe if they just did like a Book of Coordination... Or you know that old Challenge Guardian event where like we killed all the 3 Guardians at once and your character was just juiced out the ass? They need to make that content funner. What if they just gave you your character like maxed out? Like, what if they just gave you level 5 tripods and everything? They had, you know, like the Mystic raid where you just juiced out the ass doing Mystic. I think that's what they should do for Challenge Guardians. Just make them funner. They don't have to be hard on eye level. Like, that shit is boring. No one wants their character to get squished down. Same thing with like the Challenge Abyss. Just make it fun. You do it once a week. Make it fun. You know what I mean? Put some crazy ass buffs in there. Just do something. Put some extra affixes on the boss to make it a little bit more challenging. But, you know, not challenging to where like there's wipe mechanics and shit, but you know, more stuff to dodge or make it more annoying to clear. Make stuff like stun you and shit, not like kill you. Just make it more CC telegraphs, and then like if you hit the boss, you do like a shit ton of damage. You know, just see big numbers on every class. I think that would just make that better, right? And then for battle items, I kind of have a couple things on my checklist here that I was going to talk about. But I think battle items free in hell mode is fine. My personal take, I don't really agree with it because, like, I think trade skills are a great way for new players to make that extra gold in the way the game is now, because they can't really do anything else. They can do trade skills and they can do horizontal content unless they want to be dicking around in tier 1 or leveling new characters. If they don't want to spend the money to power pass characters up, because right now they have to wait on the knowledge transfer, or that, and regardless they have to spend the gold, and this gold they don't have. There's no way of making the gold, right? They have to like sell mats, which don't really sell for shit right now. They literally, the only way they can make gold is through trade skilling, and that includes battle items. So I think hell mode raiders should have to buy those battle items, right? They have to get to the item level to where they can enter the regular raid anyways. So just do the damn raids and make some gold, or you can do some trade skills as well and craft the shits yourself like everybody else. However, I will say, if they were free battle items, like, I would be more incentivized to do it. So I do think it's a good thing, but I think with the way the game is now, it's a bad thing, because new players need to be able to make gold somehow. And if they can only do one Vulcan, one Argos, and one Areha, they need to be able to make gold via trade skills. That's just how the game's set up right now. And if you take that away from them, it's like, I have a perfect example here. Look at all these. I'll literally never need a time stop again. I have 421 of these boxes, right? On the auction house, look how much time stops go for. They're going for 45 gold right now. Who do you think's buying these? Serious question. Who do you think buys time stops? I raid on 6 characters on this account, and I still have 421 of these. And I have 115 right here. You think people are that bound for time stops? I think the only people that need these are people that dump all these in hell mode. Because who else is going to need them? Because they give us enough as free. They give, what, 200 of them twice? Is this as login rewards? Like, who else is buying those? You know? Same thing with destruction bombs. I literally have destruction bombs on the auction house right now. See? That's how new players make gold. So I don't think hell mode should get free battle items, just because I just think that makes the new player experience worse. Right? Talk about gatekeeping a little bit. Gatekeeping is literally always existed in literally like every MMO ever. Like in WoW, you had AOTC. I was 2400 PvPer. Like I rated high in, like in vanilla. Like I rated a little bit, you know, like just mainly to get stuff what I needed for, like I needed like dressed for PvP and BFA and, you know, stuff like that. Or I did Mythic Plus, right? I didn't really raid in later versions of WoW. I did Nathria a little bit, but I don't know, I just didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed PvPing, and I could get the gear from PvP. I didn't have to PvE. So, but there's definitely gatekeeping. Like, you think I would do like a gladiator push in WoW playing with a 1700 player? Fuck no. Like, that's not gatekeeping. Well, I guess it is gatekeeping, but come on. It's literally the same concept in this game. If you haven't done the content, why would you bring someone into the content for a reclear? Like it's literally in every game, right? So I don't know what you could do to change that. I think making earlier content easier is the best way to deal with that. Nerfing the raids that are on farm status for us, that are literally a weekly for us, that we do 6 times. Nerfing those, yes, because I don't think, like, it's outdated content. Like, to relate it to WoW, it's like, it is, well, it's not really built like WoW. I guess across different expansions, right? So, like in vanilla, like, Lost Ark is built very much like vanilla WoW, right? To where, like, okay, you level up, you get your dungeon gear. Okay, you do Molten Core, you get your Molten Core gear. And you go into Blackwing Lair, then you get your Blackwing Lair gear. And then you go to, like, AQ, and get your AQ gear. And then you go to Nax, right? That's how Lost Ark's set up. You go to Vulcan, you go to Vicus, you go to Clown, you go to Brel, right? It's literally the same thing. But the way Lost Ark needs to be set up is like vanilla to Burning Crusade, the Wrath of the Lich King to Cataclysm, right? That's how it needs to be set up. And every Legion raid needs to be viewed as an expansion. To where, like, okay, you need to do this to get the gear, but it shouldn't, there's no reason, like it's not the top end content. Like, I think you still need to experience it because it's part of the story. You know, you get to kill the Legion commander, right? And you experience it. But I don't think, like I said, the gold shouldn't be locked behind it unless it's your pinnacle content, right? So if the highest raid you can do is Vulcan, then I think you should get 6 characters worth of gold on that one character if we're doing that one raid. Personally. That's your pinnacle content. Yeah, you can get bust through it. But you know what? You know how easy it is for new players to catch up? If they make Vault and dog shit easy and they give you 6 times the gold for doing it. And see, like, I think inflation will be an issue. So there's obviously some fine tuning that has to be done in that regard, right? Because a lot of players that don't have full roster are just going to be feeding a lot more gold into the economy. It could be a bad thing. Could drive some prices up. But I don't know. There's got to be some way of doing it to make it work, right? There's got to be some way. But that's your pinnacle content, right? And it makes them easier to make gold. I think inflation would definitely skyrocket. If that was the case, there would be a lot more gold in the economy. Usually more gold in the economy means they need more gold sinks. But, like, realistically, those kind of players, they can make that gold already anyways, right? If they have that full roster of characters doing it, then they're going to make that much gold anyway. So it's not like more gold would be coming into the economy. It would just be coming into the economy easier. Like, it wouldn't be this week-long task of doing 18 raids. It would, well, actually, it wouldn't even be like that much gold. It'd be 18k gold? It's 3k times 6. That's not even that much. That's like one accessory. One decent accessory. 18k gold for doing your one raid. I think that is fine. And this is where I think you gotta put a hindrance on bussing. And you gotta identify like bussing bots and shit, because that's where the shit gets bad when it comes to RMT. If they ended up doing something like this, that's where it gets bad. It's people bussing bots and making 18k gold per bot. But really, that's not even much compared to what they're doing already, right? Say someone has like 100 characters and they do weeklies on 100 characters. And they make like 5,000 gold per character. That's literally 500,000 gold. Like, they're already doing it. So I don't even really see the issue. They just need to be more aggressive with banning them. That's it. And then make the new player experience better at the same time. I think that would literally, like... And then give new players like a couple express events starting out so they could build like a roster or free knowledge transfers, something. I don't know. I guess that's gonna be it. I don't really know where else I'm going with this. I gotta edit like 3 fucking... This was a 50-minute take and then like so much shit. Thanks for watching.